Hey YouTube, vSecure here. Today we're going to talk about port security. Now, in the previous video, we started to do a little bit of work on some security features on switches, where we discussed DHCP snooping. So, another security feature we're going to discuss in this video is port security. Now, what port security does is it will lock down a port based on the MAC address that connects to it. This way, only a certain amount of MAC addresses can connect, or even set it to where only one MAC can connect that is specifically programmed into the port. Now, what port security can then protect are a few things. It can protect the CAM table from getting filled up by someone doing a MAC exhaustion attack, which can then help with DHCP starvation attacks. Now, since only a few MAC addresses can be on a port, the port can't keep requesting a new address with a new MAC. So it's just a way to keep the switch safe, because there are tools that you can do that'll just keep sending MAC addresses to the interface, and the switch tries to learn all those MAC addresses, and the CAM table or the MAC address table only has so much capacity, so much RAM to hold that eventually, if it hits the limit, your switch kind of becomes a very expensive hub where all traffic is just broadcast. And then you can actually, if you're an attacker, begin capturing that traffic so that you can, see if you can get passwords, any kind of traffic. Okay, so to configure port security, this is all done on the interfaces itself. So let's hop on our switch. We'll go into global config mode, and we will hop on an interface that has an endpoint. So I know 00 has one. And now from the interface, the configuration mode, the next command is switch port security. Now that command enables port security with a default configuration of one MAC address allowed, and what mode to go in if security is violated, which is shutdown. Now, if we put a new computer or a new endpoint on that port, the port will go into an air disabled state, which is a shutdown state. If we want to make modifications to a port, like if a port violates the security, there are three options. It's shutdown, protect, and restrict. So we know what happens if it's shut down. No traffic can pass. The other two states will drop the traffic if there's a violation. So the port doesn't shut down, but no traffic gets transported. Now the difference is between restrict and protect is restrict mode will log. A log is sent out as the count changes. So the protect mode, there's no logging, so it just will drop the traffic. Now to change what the default action is, the command is switch port security violation, and then the mode. So I'm going to switch it to restrict, so we'd get a log alert, but the port would stay up. And then another option would be to set the MAC address that is to be used on the port. So we can have this switch dynamically learn a MAC address and save it in the running config using the sticky command, or we can enter it manually. And the command for that is switch port security MAC address, and here's the option for sticky or the MAC address. So if I knew the MAC, I could put that in, or just type in sticky. Alright, now that we've seen some of these options, what do we do if we need to have more than one device? So more than, say, one MAC address on a port. Say if there's a phone and a PC, or maybe my PC, I might have some virtualization software on it, so it might be multiple IPs with MAC addresses. Well, there is a way to allow the switch to add numerous different MAC addresses without it going into a violation state. Then that command is switch port security maximum. And now the options 1 through 4097. I usually do 11. I based the 11 on a number I read a long time ago from one of Cisco's best practice documents. So that may have changed now, but I still just use 11. There are a couple other options that are useful, such as to set the age of a MAC address for the port security, so that after so much time, if there's inactivity from that MAC address, it'll get dropped out of this port security. And that command is switch port security, aging time, and then this is in minutes. So I usually do 5 minutes. And then if you want to have it be an absolute or just an inactive time, so like absolute is no matter what, after 5 minutes I'm going to drop it and it'll just relearn it, or just for inactivity, I generally do inactivity. And the command for that is switch port security, aging type, and here absolute, the absolute aging on the port, which is the default, or inactivity based on inactivity of the, if there's no traffic from there. I generally do inactivity. Alright, so we just set up port security on this port. One thing, I usually don't have a MAC address assigned if I'm doing it dynamically, so I am going to pull that. Let me off there really quick. I'm just going to take this one off, because it'll learn it dynamically based on this, how many MAC addresses are available. So I don't necessarily care hard coding the MAC address, since I'm allowing it to learn up to 11. So now we can verify that port security is enabled using the show port security. Oh, sorry, let's get out of config mode. Show port security. And there it is. We have it turned on this interface. We have the max amount of addresses allowed, 11. Security action is restrict. Let's see if we can get this address to show up. We'll hop on this PC. Let's make sure we have an IP. We do. We'll try pinging the gateway, and we can. So we should have a MAC here, and now we do. And we know the mode it's in, like I said, restrict. Another useful command, this would show, if we had this on every interface, all the interfaces here. Sometimes we might want to just look at a particular interface, and the command for that is show port security interface, and then the interface you want to look at. So I chose the one that I have it enabled on, and it shows that it's enabled. The status of it is up, what mode we're in, aging time, quite a bit more data. So I can do this on a port that I don't have it configured on, and it shows disabled, and security is down on it because I don't have it enabled. Or we can also do show port security address VLAN, and then the VLAN number. So I'll do VLAN 10. And it's showing that for VLAN 10, I've learned a MAC address. This is the port it's on. And it'll tell me how much time is left for that port based on inactivity. So a good command to use as well is the show interface status command. If a port is in an air disabled state, you'll see it here. So it would show, instead of connected, it'll say air disabled. So it's just a good way to see quickly if any port is down and why it is down. And then you could do a little bit of troubleshooting. You know, you could check the actual interface itself using this command to see if it's down because of port security. Like it would say secure down because port security is enabled. So it's just a good way to use a couple of different show commands to help try to troubleshoot an air disabled state. Alright, so this is a quick video on port security and how to configure it. In our next video, we'll go over dynamic ARP inspection and IP source guard. And again, thanks everyone for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.